this is gonna be a build I mentioned in the previous video. How I just considered playing without Doppel, right? Because like Doppel is just another extender that doesn't really do anything by itself, right? You need some sort of setup before it becomes amazing, right? Because like it's what it does is just insane. It just gives you like a bunch of resources just simply for doing what the deck's meant to be doing, tokens, and then you just keep reusing it with Celestial Double Star Shaman. But as many of you know, like this is the simple sequence, right? We're aware of what is like typically the the road would stop a warrior and then you just extend further, right? But what this does is the point I want to make is, what if you just didn't play the Doppel and that space was filled in with like just another form of interaction and just some sort of like certainty, some way to change the dynamic of the deck, right? Because like the consistency lies within having so much access to this little guy, right? You have so much access to it, and then we're gonna take a look at the route where you could do that play or you can do the other play. You see what I mean? And this is the other route, right? This is the other route where instead, watch you see what I mean. You do the same exact cards, right? Here, but instead of Synchro summoning for speeder here, all you basically need to do is just this gives you materials for Brax, right? That's what it does. It gives you material for Brax. As you'll see and as you'll notice, is that you won't be drawing as much, right? Like you won't, like you just won't be drawing as much. But the point about this is the fact that you can do this play, right? If something were to happen to your junk Synchron, right, or the speeder play, then all you need to do is just pitch a card for Jet, and then you just link away the Synchron carrier and the Jet Synchron, and then you just proceed to do this play, right? You see. Many of you are familiar with this. It's possibly every possible deck that can utilize Brax, it can do this, right? Okay, so this is what you end on, right? You broke even, right? You actually even plus 3 because like you started off with 5 cards, and you use 3 cards to do this entire sequence, but you broke even, right? You didn't lose anything. You just gained, and it doesn't seem as drastic because like with the librarian doing the speeder route gets you so many draws, so that's why it seems like it's a better route, right? But the fact that I'm trying to point out that this is just another consistency sequence to, if you get interacted with, then you at least can just rely on a tuner and a non-tuner instead of having to worry about adding up the proper and the correct levels, right? Because you need a level 2 and level 3 to make speeder, but this way it gives you the option to just get any generic tuner, any non-tuner, and just end on a herald and a savage for like at least if so you won't be defenseless, right? And then you main deck Ash, you main deck Veiler, you main deck Call of the Grave, you main deck what's it called, Impermanence, right? So it's just a form of way to like keep your opponent at bay while you've already established your graveyard, right? You have a junk Synchro for the following turn, and you can do the speeder then, you know? And then you have Ash, you stop them with Herald, if you force the battle phase, so that means you're guaranteed to live. You have a Savage in the gate, and you have a Ash interaction, right? So if you time it properly, then you should be able to hinder your opponent enough to have them work with like an underwhelming setup. And this is pretty cool too. Look at this. Okay, this is pretty cool. Like I was like, oh, what happens if you draw Despot? Like, you know, what can you do if you draw Despot? Like, it's because it's considered a Garnet. And then I was like, this is pretty cool. Like you see what I mean? Because like if some of you are aware of what Despot does, right? It triggers when 2 machines are summoned at the exact same time, so simultaneously, right? So normally you would trigger it with the Mega Phantom Beast token summon, right? But this little guy's a machine, and this little guy's a machine too. And look, it just triggers Despa. Look, and it doesn't miss timing either, which is pretty cool. And I thought that was like a neat thing. You can try to like incorporate when you're sequencing off, right? Because like it's cool to have that as an option. It just gives Foolish a higher ceiling because you have another material to work with. And this build I was playing Satellite Synchron, but I ended up cutting it for the what if factor. Let me go ahead and show you the deck list. Okay, so here's the deck list. Okay, so the main point I wanted to make was to minimize the cards required to pop off, right? Like you ideally you would want to have like Junk Converter and Jet Synchron and then Doppelwarrior, right? Because we know that it's like full combo. It gives you tokens. It gives you the immense amount of draws. But that's much more like it's not as consistent as if you were to just settle for opening up this or just this and this or just this like and any other monster to make the Brax play, and then consistently have some form of interaction instead of trying to build towards an interaction, right? Because like we know that alone Junk Converter and a Tuner gives you the junk, and that gives you Speeder, and then Speeder gives you Crystal Wing, a Dawn Dragster, and a draw, right? That's like guaranteed. So you're going at a +1, and I guess virtually you're going +2 the following turn, assuming you negate your opponent's card with Crystal Wing and Dragster, because you keep your monster, right? You keep your Crystal Wing, you negate their monster effect. That's they're minus. You negate their spawn trap. You keep your monster, they're at a minus, right? So you gradually like I guess out resource your opponent in that way. So is that what you prefer? Would you prefer opening up this and Doppel to increase the ceiling? Or would you prefer this and odds of having more interaction and not having to deal with an overwhelming board or an overwhelming setup that your opponent might be building for your first turn, the following turn when it goes to you? So that's the argument, right? Like, what do we want to do? Because of course we're all aware of what Doppel does. It's amazing. Like when Doppel resolves, it does so much. It's as you saw, like if you do the Speeder play, like you still like draw quite a bit, but if you add the Doppel into the mix, it just gives you that versatility that you just need and want, because it's just like, you know. But that versatility sometimes comes at the cost of consistency, and that's the whole point of this video, right? Like, do we need Doppel? Like that's the whole point. Do we need Doppel? Because like we want to have a consistent way to interact with our opponent while still having a high percentage of being able to accomplish the Speeder play and having some form of a I guess establishment with this particular deck, right? Because like when this got released, the thing that this added was consistency, right? There was more ways to get the Junk Synchron and be able to have Grave set up. And like typically you geared towards making level 5 as fast as possible, and that would be Librarian, right? Librarian would be like you make a Librarian and then you Synchro apart from that, and then you just draw, right? But in this case, this helped Speeder, because the minute you see this and this or any tuner, you use Speeder, and then you like I said, you get Crystal Wing, you get Dragster. And then like, what if that's enough right now? You know, like what if that's enough alongside an Ash, alongside a Veiler, alongside Impermanence? You know what I mean? Like, is that enough? And then just slowly, and then the following turn, because see now how consistent you play triple tuning. You Rhoda, you play 3 of this, 3 junks themselves. So like, you finish off your opponent by keeping them at bay with the Crystal and the Dragster and the Veiler and the Ash and the Imperm, right? You keep them at bay. You slow them down, and then the following turn you finish them off with like either making the Savage or making the Crimson Cranjax, and it's just spot removal, right? Like, is that sufficient enough? Would that be enough? That's you know, that's because we want to have like this flashy and high ceiling, but at a competitive level we got to consider all these little things when you test. You know, like, is it a win more? Is it a necessary win more? You know, like, is it needed to help the deck compete? You know, because like sometimes consistency is not enough, so you have to compensate with versatility and a little bit of higher ceiling. Because like if a deck is consistent, right, it's only as good as what it can accomplish, right? There's many factors, whether it's what it does against the current decks, or what its win condition is. Like like you gotta figure it out. But anyways, that's basically gonna be it. Hopefully enjoy the video. Hopefully you're a bit closer to understanding of what I'm trying to point across. But that's basically gonna be it. And I ordered a few cards, and some cards I'm trying out. I'll be posting up more videos because I was meant to be doing this during the last week, but I got caught up in just like it being impulsive and just changing the deck from here to there, here to like no, let me try this, let me try that. I can't go like bouncing, like, because once you think of an idea, you want to just do it. You don't want to like and then once you jump into the other idea, you've completely like forget about the other idea you were deep into. Because like you have to kind of get out of that deep thought into a different one, and then it's kind of hard to go back into the deep thought that why you know what I mean. Like it's weird. That's gonna be it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.